Have you ever felt like you've become a stranger to yourself? Like every decision you make is quietly shaped by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of being truly seen for who you are. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But what happens when you don't know who that is anymore? When you say yes just to avoid conflict? When you smile to please? When you shrink to fit into someone else's version of you? That's not love, that's survival. In this video, we won't talk about surface-level tips. We're going deep into the unconscious mind, into the hidden shadows where your sense of self quietly erodes, because you can't heal what you won't face, and you can't love who you don't know. So if you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered, where did I go? This is for you. Stay with me. Because what you're about to discover might not just heal your self-esteem, it might help you finally remember who you were before the world told you to be someone else. Before we dive in, I created something that might help you even more. A simple guide, not just to understand self-love, but to start living it. You'll find the link in the description. It's free to access, and it's written for people who, like you, are ready to stop surviving and start becoming. And if you want more content like this, slow, deep, real, consider subscribing. You won't be watching tips, you'll be witnessing transformation. Self-love isn't about confidence, it's not about affirmations or standing tall in front of a mirror. It's about something far deeper, the courage to face your own soul. According to Carl Jung, self-love begins when you stop chasing perfection and start integrating what you've spent years trying to hide: your anger, your sadness, your shame, your unmet needs, your shadow. Jung called this the individuation process, the path where you become whole, not by adding more, but by embracing what you've disowned. Because until you accept your shadow, you'll keep projecting it. You'll keep looking for love in people who confirm your wounds. You'll keep losing yourself trying to be what others need, while forgetting what you need. True self-love isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be seen. It shows up quietly, in your boundaries, in your voice, in the moment you choose yourself, even when it costs you someone else's approval. It's the choice to no longer abandon yourself just to feel accepted. And that choice, that silent, sacred act of returning to who you are, is what this video is all about. Because if you've ever asked, do I love myself? Maybe it's time to ask a different question. Am I still hiding from myself? The first 4 habits that reveal. If you've been abandoning yourself, habit 1, you can't be yourself unless you feel completely safe. Have you noticed how often you smile when you want to speak up? How often you say, it's okay, when your chest is screaming, it's not? Carl Jung taught us that the parts of ourselves we hide, reject, or deny don't disappear. They live in our shadow. And the more we suppress our truth to please others, the more fragmented we become. This is one of the earliest signs of low self-worth. You become a shapeshifter, a chameleon. You abandon your needs to maintain peace, but it's a peace that costs you your identity. You feel loved, but not for who you truly are. You feel accepted, but only when you're silent. True self-love is the ability to stay rooted in your truth, and even when it shakes the room. Habit 2. You give your power away next without even noticing. Where does your worth live? In someone's approval, in your job title, in the success of your relationship. Jung warned that when we don't know ourselves, we project our value outward. We hand it to our partner, our parents, our boss, and we say, tell me who I am. But when your worth depends on anything external, you become emotionally enslaved. Your mood rises and falls with someone else's attention. Your self-esteem vanishes the moment they withdraw. This is not love. This is dependency disguised as connection. Self-love, in Jungian terms, is the reclaiming of your projections. It's remembering, I am not what others think of me. I am what I choose to integrate within me. Habit 3. You say yes. When every part of you wants to say no, you say yes because it feels easier than conflict, easier than disappointment, easier than explaining what you truly want. But with every yes that betrays your truth, your self-respect quietly dissolves. This is not kindness. This is survival. And the root of this habit lies in an unhealed wound, a childhood message that said, "You are good when you're easy. You are lovable when you obey." Jung understood this as the complex, an unconscious pattern formed by past pain that drives present behavior. Until you become aware of it, you'll keep abandoning yourself to be loved. Saying no is not selfish, it's sacred. Habit 4. You carry guilt for other people's emotions. You feel responsible for how others feel. If they're angry, it's your fault. If they're hurt, you must fix it. If they're silent, what did you do wrong? This is emotional overfunctioning, and it's exhausting. It comes from a place of deep unconscious guilt. Guilt for having needs. Guilt for saying no. Guilt for existing outside someone's expectations. Carl Jung spoke about individuation as the process of separating the self from the collective mold. To become who you are, you must learn to let others feel their own feelings without rushing in to save them from discomfort. You're not here to absorb the world. You're here to be yourself, fully, honestly, unapologetically. Let people feel what they feel, and let yourself finally breathe. These 4 habits might feel familiar. They might feel like home, but they are not your truth. They are adaptations, responses, wounds dressed up as kindness, and every time you repeat them, you drift a little further from who you were meant to be. But here's the truth. You can return. One boundary at a time, one honest word at a time, one act of self-respect at a time. Habits 5 to 7, where you lost yourself and how to return. Habit 5. You define yourself by what's missing. You look in the mirror, and all you see are flaws, too loud, too soft, not enough, never quite right. Your inner dialogue is a constant stream of comparison and scarcity, and the voice inside you isn't even yours. Jung believed that we carry internal voices from our past, echoes of criticism, judgment, and shame that become the blueprint for how we see ourselves. This is not awareness. This is self-abandonment in disguise. You don't need more criticism. You need clarity. Clarity to see that your perceived flaws might just be unintegrated power. Your sensitivity might be empathy. Your hesitation might be wisdom. Your quiet might be the space where insight is born. Self-love isn't about fixing who you are. It's about remembering who you were before they told you something was wrong with you. Habit 6. You avoid what brings you joy because you've forgotten how to receive. When was the last time you did something just because it made you feel alive? No goal, no productivity, just joy. If you can't remember, you're not alone. Many people lose themselves in the noise of survival. They work, they achieve, they please. But when it comes to joy, they hesitate as if joy must be earned. Carl Jung believed that joy is not a reward. It's a sign of inner alignment. When you deny yourself joy, you disconnect from your true self, from your creative energy, from your soul. This is a wound of worthiness, the belief that you don't deserve to feel light until everything around you is fixed. But here's the truth. Joy is not something you reach after healing. It's part of the healing, so go outside. Dance in your room, make art, write without editing, laugh without guilt. That's not selfish, that's spiritual. Habit 7. You struggle to set boundaries because you're afraid of losing love. Every time you want to say no, a fear rises in your chest. What if they leave? What if they get angry? What if I'm too much? So you stay quiet. You bend. You endure. But what you're really doing is training yourself to believe that your needs are dangerous, that your voice causes harm, that your limits are a burden. Jung taught that true transformation begins the moment we stop fearing conflict and start fearing disconnection from ourselves. A boundary is not a rejection. It's an act of self-respect. But if your worth was shaped in environments where love was conditional, then boundaries feel like betrayal. You weren't taught that. Love can hold both closeness and space. You were taught that love must always mean losing yourself. But here's the healing truth. If someone leaves because you honored your boundary, they were never staying for your truth. Self-love means making peace with that, even when it hurts. Let's pause here. These habits, these patterns didn't start yesterday. They were built over years of conditioning, pain, and silence. But Jung believed that every step toward self-awareness is a step toward becoming whole. So if any of this feels familiar, don't panic. Don't judge. You're not broken. You're just ready to stop living in fragments and start remembering the wholeness that was always yours. You stay in places you've outgrown because leaving feels like betrayal. You know the feeling, that relationship that drains you, that job that suffocates you, that habit that no longer serves you. You feel the tug in your chest, the soft inner voice saying, it's time, but then guilt arrives. What if I hurt them? What if I disappoint someone? What if it's not the right time? So you stay, and stay, and stay. Jung would call this a failure of individuation, the refusal to grow because of fear, guilt, or loyalty to an outdated version of yourself. But here's the paradox. The longer you delay your growth to protect someone else's comfort, the more you betray yourself. Sometimes self-love looks like walking away, not out of anger, but out of alignment, not to punish, but to protect your truth. If something has expired, if a chapter has ended, honor it. Love doesn't always mean staying. Sometimes it means knowing when to let go. Habit 10. You confuse exhaustion with peace because you've never known rest without fear. This one is subtle, but powerful. You're tired all the time, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. You confuse numbness with calm. You think being disconnected is being okay. You believe survival is the same as peace. It's not. Jung believed that the shadow often disguises itself as stillness, when in truth, it's suppression. You're not calm. You're closed. You're not peaceful. You're paused. Because the real you, the wild, expressive, radiant you, hasn't had room to breathe in years. Self-love is not about resting after you've burned out. It's about creating a life that doesn't constantly set you on fire. So if you've been mistaking silence for serenity or stillness for healing, stop. Check in with yourself. Ask, am I truly at peace or just too exhausted to feel anything? Else, because you deserve rest, but more than that, you deserve to live. These final 3 habits, they reveal what you've sacrificed in the name of acceptance. But Carl Jung reminds us that the path to wholeness is not about pleasing others. It's about becoming real. You don't need to wait until you're empty to choose yourself. You don't need to explain why your spirit craves more. You just need to remember, you were never meant to be a fragment. You are a whole soul, a sacred flame, a quiet revolution in progress, and it's time to return to you. The return to wholeness you've spent years trying to be enough. Enough for them, enough for the world, enough for the version of you that never felt whole, and now you're here. You've listened, you've recognized the signs, you've seen where your light dimmed, just to keep someone else comfortable. But the truth is, you were never broken, only buried, only quieted, only taught to hide the parts of you that didn't fit the mold. Carl Jung said, "We don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." So let's stop running from the dark. Let's sit with it. Let's listen to it. Let's ask it what it's trying to teach us. Because self-love isn't soft, it's sacred. And it often begins in silence, in the quiet decision to choose yourself, even when no one claps, even when no one understands, even when it hurts. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the you that existed before fear, before guilt, before the world convinced you that your truth was too much. You are not too much. You are enough. And more than that, you are necessary. If this resonated with you, I created something that might help you take the next step. You'll find it in the description, a simple guide to help you reconnect with the self you've been longing for. It's free, and it's for you. And if you'd like more moments like this, gentle, raw, and real, I invite you to subscribe, because you don't have to walk this path alone. You just have to start walking. Welcome back to yourself. You were always the answer.